interview for StartupCafe.ro.
Thank you very much.
Arnold, e-residency, please tell us about this famous idea of Estonia that facilitates foreign entrepreneurs to come here and invest. What does it mean?
Well, basically, the e-residency is a digital ID issued by the government to anyone from anywhere in the world, which means that you can be citizen of Estonia, you can be resident of Estonia, but you can also be e-resident. And by being e-resident, you have access to the Estonian digital infrastructure, which means that, for instance, you can create your company within a couple of minutes or hours, maybe, if you're a bit slow like I am. But yeah, you know, the Estonia has been building a fully digital society and infrastructure, and after a while, came up the idea of giving those advantages to anyone from everywhere in the world, which means you can live in India, you can live in Rwanda, in Colombia, wherever. You can ask to become e-resident and have access to Estonian digital infrastructure.
Mm-hmm. Furthermore, what does it offer to an investor? For example, if I'm a Romanian startup entrepreneur and I take this e-residency of Estonia, actually, what do I get?
So far we have 26,000 e-residents coming from 140 countries in the world. So depending on the country, the main advantages are more or less relevant. But basically, when you become a resident and you create your company in Estonia, you have access to European single markets. You have access to business banking services. You get access also to international payment providers. And just to mention a few countries, for instance, in Ukraine or in Turkey, the access to PayPal is restricted, which means that if you want to do e-business and you're living in these countries, you can't get paid by PayPal, which is very critical when you're an entrepreneur and especially when you do e-business. So you have access to all these advantages. You have also access to digital signature, which means that you will never have to never have to print any single document. Everything is done digitally, so there's no paperwork. You're dealing with an administration that, again, is totally paperwork free. So for people who don't want to spend too much time dealing with administration, bureaucracy, etc., e-residency can really solve this kind of problems. Mm-hmm. So e-residency is really designed for people who want to work and travel at the same time, who don't want to be bothered by administrative stuff, and at the same time, people who want to get access to all of the financial tools that are needed to make your business grow.
What is the procedure, Arnold? How do I get e-residency, for example?
Well, of course, the application form is fully online. It's done fully online. So you just need to fill this form. Then you need to wait a little bit for a background check, because we don't provide this digital identity to everyone without checking if they haven't been involved in any criminal activity, if they were not involved in money laundering, etc. So when you do your application form, you give a picture of your passport or ID card. Then you need to wait, say 3 weeks maybe, because the police and border guard administration does this background check. But then, and actually only less than 1% of applications have been rejected so far, then you can become a resident, and you just have to go to the embassy of your country or the nearest embassy and pick up your digital ID.
Yes. You go to the Estonian embassy
Yes.
in your country, in this case Romania, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and to pick up a residency.
Yeah. We 2 weeks ago we just announced that Romania is now a new pickup location. Before that, it was impossible to pick up your digital ID at the Estonian embassy in Bucharest, but now we have this possibility. So now all of the Estonian embassies in the world can issue digital ID.
Mm-hmm. And in order to incorporate a company, a small company in Romania, startup, for example, in Estonia, as a Romanian startup entrepreneur, what should I do?
If you want to incorporate, when you become a resident, you can start using your digital ID, and which means that you have access to the digital business registry, and it's a very easy one. So you can create your company within a few minutes, hours, let's say. So it's very efficient. So the only thing, you don't need any physical office, any physical address. You don't need to hire a country manager in order to create your company in Estonia, because your company is going to be registered in Estonia. You don't need any of this. You just need to check if the name of the company is available. You just need to pay the state fee, and that's all. Then you have your company. And but if you want to have access, let's say, to, I don't know, tax experts or legal experts, virtual office, etc., then we can put you in touch with some business service providers or partners. So it makes kind of a snowball effect for many companies, for many Eastern companies who are providing these services to e-residents. So basically, with e-residency, we're aiming at democratizing the access to entrepreneurship worldwide, because we really believe that while the world doesn't lack of innovative ideas, however, the access to services, especially digital services, is very unfair. Whether you come from, if you come from a center country, if you live in this country, or if you want to travel in this country, you may not have access to the same tools, to the same services as someone from, I don't know, let's say Europe or the US, etc. So what we want to do is really helping to reach financial inclusion worldwide.
So basically, a Romanian entrepreneur start up his business or her business in Estonia, but he could basically even not come in Estonia.
Yeah, you don't have to come to Estonia. However, it's very important to, and I want to emphasize this, e-residency is not a tax residency. So you're still going to pay your personal taxes where you live.
Really?
If you still live in Romania, you're going to pay your personal taxes.
The personal taxes
in Romania.
Yes, but the taxes for the companies, I pay them in Estonia.
You only pay them in Estonia if you create value in Estonia. You know, corporate taxes should always be paid where you generate value. In many cases, our e-residents don't generate value in Estonia, so they don't pay corporate taxes in Estonia. They need to pay corporate taxes where they generate value. So if all of their business activities, clients and value in general is in one country, let's say Romania, corporate taxes are also going to be paid in Romania.
For example, as a Romanian, if I open my company in Estonia, incorporate in Estonia electronically through e-residency, and I have an online, let's say magazine, an online shop, okay, and I buy, for example, goods from China, and I sell them to clients in the whole Europe, for example, only online. But I stay in Romania. My company is actually electronically based in Estonia, and where do I pay the corporate tax? Because my clients are all over the Europe.
Well, first of all, the question of importing goods is a bit different because duties are due where the goods are built or created or produced, and it's not based on the nationality of the company. So if you produce some goods in China, if you want to import them to Europe, you're still going to pay duties, of course. So regarding the duties question and physical goods, it's another topic. I mean, e-residency is not doesn't replace international law and especially business law. So the thing with corporate tax and the fact that corporate taxes should always be paid when you generate value, those are the OECD rules, and we totally respect them. Having said that, it's a very interesting question that you brought up, because indeed with the digital economy, with the economy of services that we have now, taxation issues can become very complicated, because you may generate value in many different countries. So what we always explain to our residents is that corporate taxes sometimes they can be owned in different countries. We always advise them to discuss with tax experts, and we can put them in touch with tax experts, because those questions are very complex. But these questions have not been introduced by e-residency. It's just the fact that international taxation now is not fully designed for a totally globalized economy. And indeed, for many companies, it can be quite complicated and quite challenging to understand where they should pay their corporate taxes. But just to summarize, you only pay your corporate taxes in Estonia if you generate your value in Estonia.
But what is the value brought to Estonia? Why do you do that, Estonia?
Well, first of all, it's important to realize that e-residency was not a technological innovation. Estonia, it took some years for Estonia, starting the first e-governance portal was opened in 1999 in Estonia, for instance. It took a lot of different steps and years for Estonia to build a fully digital society and digital infrastructure. But e-residency was not a technological innovation, it was a political choice made by the government to give the access to an infrastructure that already existed for Estonians, and giving this access to the rest of the world. If a system can operate for 1,300,000 inhabitants, it can work also for 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. So it's not. So the cost was mitigated because we didn't have to hire 100 developers to build this infrastructure, etc. Because it already existed. First of all, the cost for the state was relatively mitigated. And I can say this investment has already been way reimbursed. We're actually, on the 1st of December, we're going to publish a report made by our partner Deloitte, and it's extremely positive regarding the contribution from e-residents to the Estonian economy. So how can e-resident contribute otherwise? So I was mentioning the fact that if you're looking for services, we put you in touch with business service providers and with potential partners or other companies. So tax experts, legal experts, virtual offices, business service providers in general, banking. So a lot of e-residents actually start to have some economic interaction with Estonian companies. So it brings some money. It increases the business connections for Estonian companies and Estonia in general with the rest of the world, because Estonia is becoming more famous, so more e-residents want to work with Estonian companies. A lot of e-residents actually come to travel to Estonia for business trips, etc. So it generates quite some money. So that's why the initial investment made by the Estonian government and state has already been way reimbursed, and we are very positive we're very optimistic regarding the results we're going to announce on the 1st of December regarding how much money is generated in Estonia thanks to e-residents.